Hi, today I'll be going over 5.1, which is use properties of exponents. So the first property is the product of powers, which means if you have two things with the same base and you're multiplying them, you can add the exponents. So for example, 3 to the fourth power times 3 to the negative 2 power will be 3 squared, because 4 plus negative 2 is 2, and 3 squared is 9. The next one is power of a power. So if we have b to the x power and all of that to the y power, we can multiply the exponents. So that would be b to the xy power. So for example, if we have 2 to the third to the fourth, that would be 2 to the 12th with this which is 4096. Next one is power of a product. So if we have a times b to the x power, we can distribute the x power. So that'll be a to the x power times b to the x power. Next is a negative exponent. So if we have b to the negative x power, since b is in the numerator, we're going to flip it so that it's on the denominator. So this would be 1 over b to the x power. The zero exponent is anything to the 0 power is 1. The quotient of powers is if we have b to the x power over b to the y power, we can subtract the exponents if they have the same base and we're dividing. And for power of a quotient, so this one's similar to power of a product. If we have a over b to the x power, we can distribute the x power. So that's a to the x power over b to the x power. Okay, so let's do a couple examples. So for the first section, we want to evaluate or simplify. So for this one, we can distribute the fourth power. So that's 3 to the fourth power over 5 to the fourth power. And that's going to be 81 over 625. For number 2, we have the same base of 2 over 3. So that means we can add the exponents. So that's going to be 2 over 3 to the negative 2 power. Now, since it has a negative exponent, that means we can flip our fractions. So that would be 3 over 2 to the second power. And then we can distribute the squared. So that's 3 squared over 2 squared, which is 9 over 4. Okay, next one we have 3 to the fourth over 3 to the negative 2. So since they have the same base of 3 and we're dividing, that means we can subtract the exponents. So that'll be 3 to the 6th, since 4 minus negative 2 is 6, and that equals 729. Next one, we have 3 over 4 to the negative 1 power and all of that to the third power. So we can multiply the exponents. That's going to be 3 over 4 to the negative 3 power. Then for the negative, we're going to flip. So that's going to be 4 over 3 cubed. And we can distribute the cube to 4 cubed over 3 cubed, which is 64 over 27. Next, we have x's and y's, so we don't have to actually figure out what number it is. So first, I would look at the stuff with the common bases. So we have x to the third times x to the sixth. And since we're multiplying these, that means we're going to add the exponents. So that's going to be x to the ninth. And these two have a common base of y, so we can also add those exponents, and that's going to be negative 3. Now to get rid of the negative exponent, we're going to move the y to the third to the denominator, since if you have a negative exponent, you'll move it to the other side of the fraction. So since it's in the numerator, we'll move it to the denominator. Okay, next one we have 2x to the fourth, y to the negative 4. So we can distribute the negative 2 power, so that's 2 to the negative 2, x to the negative 8, and y to the 8th. So all of the ones with the negative exponent we can put in the denominator. So that'll be y to the 8th over 2 squared x to the 8th, and 2 squared is 4. So I'm just going to rewrite that as y to the 8th over 4x to the 8th. Okay, so this one we have a couple of like terms. So we have the 4 and the 24. So 4 over 24 is 1 over 6, so I'm going to put a 6 in the denominator. And then we have x to the fourth over x to the fourth. So there's two different ways of doing this. You can cancel them out since it's the same thing. Like if you had 2 over 2, that'll be 1. Or you can subtract the exponents. So 4 minus 4 is 0. And anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, and then the last part is y to the fifth over y to the negative 5. So since we're dividing those, we can subtract the exponents. And 5 minus negative 5 is 10. So the final answer would be y to the 10th power over 6. Okay, the next section is scientific notation. So scientific notation looks like this. We have c times 10 to the n power, and c is any number between 1 and 10. So for the first one here, we have 1.2 times 10 to the negative 3 times 6.7 times 10 to the negative 7. So I'm going to multiply the numbers first, and when you multiply those, you'll get 8.04. And then next, I'm going to multiply the tens. So 10 to the negative 3 times 10 to the negative 7 will be 10 to the negative 10 because we're adding the exponents. And 8.04 is in scientific notation, so this would be our final answer. Next one, we're going to first distribute the 4. So that's going to be 4.1 to the 4th power times 10 to the 12th. And 4.1 to the 4th power is 282.576. But our number is bigger than 10, so that means we have to move the decimal 2 times so that it would be in scientific notation. So since we're moving the decimal 2 times to the left, that means we're going to add 2 to our exponent at the end. So this would be 2.826 times 10 to the 14th. And then for the last one, we're going to start by looking at the numbers in front of the tens. So 1.1 divided by 5.5 is 0.2. And then we're going to combine these. So 10 to the negative 3 divided by 10 to the negative 8 would be 10 to the 5th because we are subtracting the exponents. So that's negative 3 minus negative 8, which is positive 5. But 0.2 isn't in scientific notation, so I'm going to move this one to the right. So that means I have to subtract 1. So this would be 2 times 10 to the 4th power. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope